Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Jane's Fighters Anthology. As I said last time, today we'll be doing some single missions. Well, just one mission for this episode like any other, but so this first mission, we can see there's we can see there's a fair amount of single missions that you can do for they have 10 extra missions for North Vietnam, and we'll be I believe most of them are US missions that are really just variations on the campaign missions, but today we'll be doing the first one, which is Backdoor. Backdoor, Haiphong Air Base. Date, May 23rd, 1972. Local time, 1300 hours. Weather, clear. Situation. Common North Vietnamese tactic was to saturate U.S. fighter defenses. One group of MiG interceptors would lure away the escorting U.S. fighters, while another group attacked the bombers. Mission objective. Your North Vietnamese MiG-21 pilot charged with intercepting a U.S. Alpha strike. Several of your comrades are going to precede you and engage the escorting F-8 fighters. Your objective is to destroy the F-4 fighter-bombers once the escorts are out of range. Order of battle, recommended aircraft MiG-21, recommended weapons AA-2, threat suppression data, ground opposition none, air opposition F-8Js, and F-4Bs. So, it's important to note the F-4Bs will not have a cannon. We are the Red 4 now. We see the Butler on the Red Crown mission, and I would think the Kitty Hawk would be around here, but those are like, I think, permanent fixture. No, the Butler's the permanent fixture in the map, as is a lot of the airfields, as you can see. So let's go up here. We can see we had some allies, MiG-21, still be coming in from the west to lure off the fighters, while we come in and pick off the bombers. So we'll be using Russian weapons this time. We have a internal gun this time instead of externally mounted pod, as is the case with the F-4J. And we will be using the GSH-23, which is a pair of 23mm cannons with 200 rounds of ammunition. And then we have the AA-2D Atoll missiles. These were basically a directly reverse engineered copy of the AIM-9B's Sidewinder, because in one of its first combat uses, we secretly supplied Taiwan with AIM-9Bs. And they were engaging MiG-17 or MiG-19s with F-100, with I think F-86 Sabres that we gave them. And their planes couldn't get up to the altitude to engage the MiGs because, you know, they're older. So we gave them some Sidewinders, and the MiGs were just cruising along one day, thinking it would be just another day, and they engaged them with Sidewinder missiles, and so the MiGs were surprised when they're suddenly dropping out of the sky. And in one of these engagements between Chinese and Taiwanese forces, or Republic of China and People's Republic of China forces, if you want to use technical terms, a Sidewinder got lodged in the tail of one of the MiGs, so when it got back to base, the Chinese gave it to the Soviets, and the Soviets quickly pumped out their own copy, which took the form of the Atoll missile that we'll be using. And one other thing we will be doing is just to demonstrate what I've been talking about all these episodes. I will be turning off the authentic radar CRT and seeker and the IR laser advanced targeting. So we have we actually have a 25 nautical mile range on this. That's longer than I remember, but we have one wingman, and yes, that is our plane now. And I see nothing on the radar yet. We could probably turn our radar off to give us somewhat of the element of surprise, so that way they aren't picking us up on their RWR. And that will it's not so important in these missions. There they are. Ooh, that is definitely different from when I played this as a kid. Everything was in English, but I see they did more voice work. Oops, I got so they're flying below the so we gotta keep up with them. We gotta remember we're going to be slower than these guys. We have our other MiG-21s are in there already, and also we have a hell of a lot less fuel. We're running on internal tanks, and we have half the fuel of the of the F4. So what we got there? SH-60. That is the wrong era, I believe. Huh. We see there's a Kitty Hawk though. They've got some supply ships, so these are just doing underway replenishment of sorts. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in behind these planes here, and I will hopefully demonstrate to you how the IR missiles should be working in this game. You'll also notice there's differences in the radar seeker. Because before, if they were pointed straight down, it was relative. If they were pointed straight down, it meant they were coming for you. If it was, whereas now, if they're pointed straight down, they would move past us. And here's what I'm talking about the growl, how we can tell when we're in range. And I really miss that. And we even have a hit probability for it, so. We'll order our wingmate to attack, and we're gonna stop fucking around and start killing this guy. Hopefully without getting our... Oh! Hey, like I said, this is a lot more... You'll see there's a lot more maneuverability, and it's just us, the pilot. There's no radar intercept officer who was calling stuff out to us before. Yeah, you can see we corner so much better. We're at the bottom of our flight envelope now, whereas in the MiG-21 we were probably closer to the top. So this guy's angry, he's going for us. And we might not be able to get a lock on him, but you can see he cannot turn and get us. So let's try this. Oh no, a Sparrow missile. I'm so scared. And you see how easy we can come back on this guy? I mean, okay, we're not quite back on him, but we are a lot better than what we were. We don't have to worry about him turning on to us so much. And now that he's made a mistake, come on. See, now he's using his afterburns and we're just running away from us. So we can let him, because we have a missile we can't use. Okay. Will it try to lock on? No. Oh, I think it did try. And we gotta be pretty careful because we don't have the cannon reserve rounds like we used to. So that was off. Got him. And we have these guys left. Yeah, I think I almost would have preferred a gun pod instead of the missiles, given how unreliable they are. And let's get in a position where we'll get a lock. Because if we can take one of these guys out with a missile, that would be great. But it was not to be. So we'll we'll put that back to authentic radar and advanced targeting. Even though we miss our growl, we'll probably have to let our wingmen. And we are spent. We have no ordnance left, so we will be relying on our wingmen to kill that last bomber. Destroy F-4S. That raises a point. In the Ultimate Navy version of the Phantom was the S-4S Phantom, and that featured a lot of improvements on the F-4J we were flying. They don't have them in this game though. Most people just know the F-4J. So we'll have him. And so we'll head home for now. And he got him, albeit barely. So we're gonna head back home. And yeah, that you can see they don't have as much staying power as the Phantoms did if they could stay in combat without dying. So we see here were our allies. Oh, excuse me. They're landing at Haiphong, just like we're gonna be. And this will actually be our first airfield landing of the series. We'll do them more once, well, we'll do them exclusively once we move on to the Air Force campaign, but for now, we're doing carrier landings because of the Navy. So we'll switch to navigation mode. A lot of this is going to be the same thing, it's just we don't have a hook. So we gotta go high, now we gotta go low. And they have us lining up to the, which runway do they have us lining up to? I'm kind of curious. This one, I guess. Alright. So, yeah, and since they don't have a voice, essentially they use beeps to indicate their messages. So we'll get that loud beep instead of, you know, heading at 20, wind heading at 20 knots or something like that. So I'd still like to come a little bit more to the right, but tis not to be. Afterburner. Yeah, we were falling a little too fast there for my comfort. And we have a lower stall speed, I believe, than the, so there we go. Barely on the runway, but on is on. And yeah, we're going 10 knots, so at least I think that's what that's saying. So, we'll throttle up a little bit just so we can taxi around. We want to taxi to the left. And yeah, you can see just because the flight model applies to when you're on the ground too, you can see just by how quickly we can turn around. Granted, we are completely empty too. And I mean completely empty. We have less than 25% fuel reserves right now, I think. So, yeah, our airfield's a little wavy. They should look into that. But, come on. I shouldn't have to apply 50% thrust to move around. And so these are hangars, these big blue things. And now we're trying to take off, apparently. There's our lovely Soviet control tower. Hello, Soviet handlers. And it was believed that the Soviets did, at the very least, they had advisors. I don't know if they actually had pilots fly for the North Vietnamese, but they certainly had advisors there training them. And off to our right, you see some bunkers. This is probably where munition... You'd really want them further out, but because game limitations and all that, they're right next to the planes. Storage units, those probably had planes under maintenance. More hangars, some barracks. And we're stopped again because we need ridiculous amounts of throttle. See, we're at 17% throttle and not moving. We aren't that low on fuel. There. And like the briefing said, I think we're in High Phong, so we're right next to those docks we hit in like one of our first missions. It was like the second mission, I think we were protecting aircraft mining the harbor in the Vietnam campaign, so that's the city we're flying out of. We also did do our own strike against ships there. Yes, look at that flyby. Or drive-by, as the case may be. So now we gotta be careful, because instead of falling off the carrier, I'm gonna get sick from this texture just being all blah. And we don't want to hit anything, so we'll probably just do... that. Yeah, we can make it better, but... yeah, our wingman's basically out of fuel now, is what he's saying. So we can technically go further. You know what I'm going to do is... there. Okay, that's not terrible. And hopefully our wingman doesn't decide to park on top of us, but... yeah. That was the mission as the North Vietnamese. Where is our wingman? Is he still taxing? Okay. Pretty plane. Taxing down the... ah, that doesn't really work. But here he comes, and he will be parking... right beside us. And you can see they even put kill markings on, oh, I really like the North Vietnamese soundtrack. It's all jazzy. I don't think I've heard these songs before, or at least not in a long while. So, there we are, 3 planes in a pod, looking cool. I know what I want. We could try to do... yeah, this... because the airfield is so much bigger than the ships, that doesn't really work out so well, but we can do... that. And take pretty pictures. So 9... so 9, 5, 4, 6... so that was the mission. Debrief. High Phong Air Base. Date May 23rd, 1972. Mission backdoor. Resolution success. Your Soviet trainer is very pleased with your performance. Alright, I should rephrase. Your Soviet trainer is very pleased with your performance, comrade. Mission outcome success. Destroyed 3 targets, albeit barely. And we got 2 kills and our wingman got 1. All of our shitty Sidewinder rip-offs, well, 3 failed, and 1 was decoyed. So 3 of them just broke. You know, the attacking aircraft, or the defending aircraft, wouldn't even need to do anything. Our wingman only used 1 A2, and his was just flared off. So we see we have a relatively high gun hit percentage versus our Phantom, but since they give us 1,200 rounds to play with there versus a 200 here, we have to be choosier with our shots. He made 1 pass at us, didn't hit, and because of the single mission, there's no base to go back to or aircraft to repair, so that's it. And next time, we'll probably... I might end up going through all the North Vietnamese single missions, just because they do serve... they do give you some useful background information too. Like, you know, this one we got to learn about some of the North Vietnamese tactics and give us the experience of flying a North Vietnamese plane. So I think we'll be doing that. So we'll see you next time.